You can bet your bottom dollar. Great programming coming up next on the Stewart Media and Entertainment Network. Stand by. Hold on. Talk at its finest, coming up next on the Stewart Media and Entertainment Network. In about 2 minutes, stand by. We know what guys are talking about. Stand by. A great show coming up next on the Stewart Media and Entertainment Network. In about 30 seconds. Stand by. Don't go away. Stop. If they're talking about it at the barbershop, we're talking about it here on SME. Great show coming up in about 30 seconds. Don't go away. Stand by. It's time. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Another great product on the Stewart Media and Entertainment Network. Yeah!
Look out! Y'all tuned into the Underground Railroad Show with that Nintendo Spreaker.com, live from the Man Cave Studios. As always, live from the Man Cave Studios, having a this, so that's my bad. Oh, hold on a minute.
My bad. That should be better. All right, let's try that one more time. Let's replay like that didn't happen. Look out, you are tuned into the Underground Railroad Show with that ninja on Spreaker.com, live from the Man Cave Studios, and actually on the microphone this time. That might help. Appreciate everybody coming aboard the train, man. What's going on with you? Got a special edition for you today, man. Not meaning to step on my boys there from X Squad, but hell, I didn't really have another time I could get on. I had a few things I wanted to get off, so without any further ado, I always start off the show with my perception versus reality, which is just to look at something that's going on. But, man, there's so much, and this usually happens before football season. A lot of BS goes down in the news. A whole bunch of garbage goes on with the news media that in my opinion, is either incapable of covering black people properly, unwilling to, or they're simply bad at their job. But there's a level of inconsistency in media coverage that is undeniable. So with all of that being said, there are a lot of stories I'm looking at that kind of have a certain theme, different situations, different sports, different people, but you can all relate it back to something in particular. So that's really the way the show is going to run today. I might do a conference breakdown, but I really don't think I'm going to have time. So I'm going to introduce everybody that has come aboard the train and jumped on the chat. I'm going to lay out the format of today's show and what we're going to talk about. But first, my perception versus reality. And the one I have today is the story that's off in the news right now from the Olympics. Ryan Lochte. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing his name. But him and 3 other swimmers, I believe, was it 3 or 4? It's like 3 other swimmers. They had a well, a story came out a few days ago, maybe it was last week, and where they said they got robbed, and really Ryan Lochte was the one doing all the talking. He said, in Brazil he got robbed, and you have to keep in mind, they were saying before the Olympics, the infrastructure is not right, the pool's dirty, this and that, the water's polluted, which I some of that is true, but it's really like that in most, place. There's a really big disparity between the have and the have-nots in an area like that, which is why you're gonna, have thievery and whatnot. But at any rate, they were out, and he claimed that a car pulled them over, and men with badges and guns got out, claiming to be police, and made them all get on the ground, and told them, you know what this is, you're getting robbed. And actually, in his story, he said that the other 3 swimmers laid down, and his part in the story. And remember, all this shit is made up. His part in the story was that he didn't lay down. He stood up there like, no, I'm not gonna lay down. I haven't done anything wrong. This is what he's doing when somebody's pointing a gun at him. This is his story. He decided to make this up. And just being defined with somebody having a gun in his face. Then allegedly they put the exact same pistol in his face. They got everybody down. They put the gun in his face once again. And then I guess at that point he understands it's real. And he said he's like, yeah, whatever. But he's saying he still didn't lay on the ground. So you're going to lie, but on top of that, you're not even going to bother to tell a good lie. Now that I don't really understand. But at any rate, my main point about this, and I don't want to get too deep into that part right now because we're going to do that shortly, but my whole thing about this is not necessarily the event and what happened, but the way the media chooses to cover it, because the story was unraveling from the beginning, and it's also come out that that the story was unraveling from the beginning, and it was always sketchy from the beginning. Anybody else, when something happens to them, what do they always say? Why were you out? You're supposed to be at the Olympics. Why are you out, partying? That's always going to be the case when, hell, quite frankly, it's anybody that looks like us. Well, most of the people listening to the show. Well, maybe I'm assuming most. I could be wrong, so I apologize for that statement. But most black people know that if you're in that situation, anytime a player's out, even if it's not their fault, somebody decides to jump on them or they get robbed or something to that effect, almost immediately they say, why are you out? Is one of the first things. But at any rate, they claim that they were out, they got robbed. And there's video, when they come back to the hotel, all the things they said they got robbed for, they still had. They still had their watches. They still had their money. They still had their wallet. They still had their watch and everything. So then it surfaces that they were lying the whole time. And this kind of has come out in the last couple of days. But again, from the beginning, the story was unraveling. But the thing to me is the coverage. Because from the beginning, the whole thing has been that we know they lied now. The story was outrageous from the beginning, and now that it's unraveling, there's not the normal vitriol and attack by the media. And then on top of that, we have a video coming out where what actually happened is they went to a gas station and had to use the bathroom. I guess it was locked. They kicked in the door and just went in and handled their business, allegedly pissing on the walls, just kind of vandalizing things and whatnot. So what really happened as opposed to getting robbed is they went and vandalized the damn bathroom and caused damage to a store. And instead of fake police robbing them, what happened was security pulled guns on them when they got ready to leave. Now, yeah, they got guns put on them. You're in a foreign country, you vandalize a store, you try to leave, and they had weapons put on them allegedly by security. Now, keep in mind, it's about 4 or 5 of them, I think, and they swimmers, like Michael Phelps, they, kind of tall and lanky. They probably all pretty big dudes. I'm not really sure. I don't have a weight and height and stuff, so maybe I should have looked that up. But I imagine they're pretty big sized dudes. And if you're security and try to stop somebody, that's probably going to happen. So guns were pulled on them allegedly, but there's no video of it. And they were stopped, and even I think when they said some police came, they basically negotiated paying for what happened. So they tore up the bathroom, gave them some money to kind of pay for it, to pay for the damages. But what really happened, the big gist of it is, now that we know this, I'm waiting for the vitriol. I guarantee you when sports radio hits tomorrow, they're not going to come out and go hard on them. And my only thing is, and I'm not going to go too long on this because it's just my opening rant, My only thing is, okay, you got 3 or 4 privileged people, doing the sport of swimming, which, is very hard and very competitive. But if you look at the pool, it's whiter than a bag of flour. There's a reason for that. It's sort of a privileged sport. Not everybody's able to practice and swim in a controlled body of water, maybe an ocean or something, but that's not the same as swimming in a pool. So that's why the sport looks the way it is. I say that in short, that some people are privileged, and they show privileged behavior. You got Olympians showing their ass in Brazil, tearing up stuff, vandalizing whatnot, and then instead of just, saying what happened, they said that they got attacked and had guns pulled on them by fake Brazilian police, saying that they got robbed, when people are already stereotyping that Brazil is dangerous and dirty and worry about Zika. By the way, the thing about Zika, for me, when I first heard it, all I could think about was SARS. Then after I got done thinking about SARS, I thought about mad cow. Then after I thought about mad cow, I thought about those African killer bees that were coming over. You notice every little scare that comes along comes and it disappears? I digress. That's not what we're talking about. But, that's what I thought about. I said they're talking about it now. The Olympics are going to start, and we haven't heard Zika one damn time. For the most part. Some people have kind of joked about it. But nothing. So this is kind of severe. This is really, and this has been out long enough for it to kind of surface a little bit, but they're kind of skating about it, deciding how they're going to go about it, and I can already see it coming now. And my only thing is, let's think about Gabby Douglas. How they reached and attacked her for nothing. Over, I'm not going to get into the hair thing. That's just kind of an internet thing. That's just ignorant. But over her posture or how she was looking, you train for 4 years and you're competing. She came in 3rd place, only 2 Americans allowed on the floor exercise, so she didn't get to go. You're allowed to be a little upset. She still competed well. She won gold for something in particular. I don't have the particulars, but she won. She medaled. She conducted herself well. But they reached at her for that and not saluting the flag when she had her hands to the side, something I've seen servicemen do, something I've seen a lot of people do. So why in this instance are you so apt? And it's not just one, right? It's not just a couple of them or some random, somebody writing a blog. That doesn't really matter. An actual reporter, somebody supposed to be a journalist, attacked Gabby Douglas for nothing. But they're going out of their way to go easy on 3 swimmers that were just acting like spoiled fucking brats in another country, embarrassing America from their behavior. That's who they should be going after with the same vitriol they did with Gabby Douglas. But I guarantee you when tomorrow hits, somebody's going to be apologizing. Somebody's going to say they're in Brazil or they were scared or I would have lied too. I wouldn't have want to got in trouble. They're going to have perspective. They're not going to go after them the same way they're going after Gabby Douglas. And in Gabby's case, it was all assumed. There wasn't even any fact. Here you actually have videotape of what they did. But there's not going to be a smear campaign come tomorrow. I promise you they're going to be apologizing for this. Wait to see if anybody goes after them. Maybe outside of Real Cast, X Squad, and the TDSS. Nobody in the mainstream is going to go hard. They're going to speak about it, give them a little bit of they did wrong, this and that, but there's going to be a but. They're already saying some things like, boys will be boys, or they were just out fooling around having fun. Really? Come on, bruh. Come on. Now, if you're going to get on Gabby and make up things for her to be wrong about, you can't take a situation where Olympians embarrass the country by not only behaving in that manner, but then lying about it and making the country look bad. But that's what's on my mind right now. I'm going to continue that because I could talk forever, but I want to get this train rolling. I just want to give everybody time to get on board. I appreciate y'all coming aboard, man. Let's take a ride. All right, man, as always, I'm going to sit here and set up the show, but before I do that, let's acknowledge everybody that's in the chat. I always appreciate y'all coming aboard, man, and jumping in the chat. Give me a little something to feedback on. Y'all always help me out with good commentary, man, good perspective and whatnot, so I appreciate it. We got Denise Milk and Cookies first up on the train. Thanks for coming aboard, Miss Denise. I appreciate it. First on the train. She's been a supporter. She's been